Yo, what's good everyone? Welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to be breaking down the NHL DFS slate for Wednesday, March 8th. We got ourselves just a 3-game slate here tonight, where I'm going to go through a couple of my favorite line stacks, some of my favorite individual plays, and some of my favorite value plays, and then we'll wrap up today's video talking a little prize picks. With that being said, let's dive into my spreadsheet here. And we're going to kick things off here like we always do in the top left-hand corner with those highest implied game totals. We got this game between the Ducks and Canucks coming in at 6.5, Blackhawks at Red Wings coming in at 6 goals even, and then Wild at Jets coming in at 5.5. And then take a look down here at the Vegas odds, where you can see the Red Wings, Canucks, and Jets are all favored to win tonight. And then here's a midweek schedule update video today and tomorrow, breaking down each one of those NHL DFS slates. But again, nothing for Friday, as we have just 2 NHL games that are scheduled. And not going to do anything for this weekend either, as I do plan to start a new YouTube project. Really excited for that. More information to come out on that later on. But I will be back at it on Monday, breaking down that NHL DFS slate. With that being said, let's dive into a couple of line stacks that I like here for tonight. Now, for starters, take a look at the notes here off to the right-hand side. Being that it is just a 3-game slate here, need to find ways to make our tournament lineups unique. I'm primarily a tournament player when it comes to NHL DFS, so doing full power play stacks, team stacks, or even game stacks makes sense on a slate like this. Now, one of the line stacks that I like here for tonight is that first line for the Winnipeg Jets, and for 3 main reasons. I like them because of the correlation here with Scheifele, Connor, and Nino, all playing up on the first line in number 1 power play. They're pretty much on the ice together the entire game. Number 2, they're catching a Minnesota Wild team playing on back-to-back nights after a hard-fought game last night at home against the Calgary Flames, ended up losing that game in a shootout. And then number 3, it sounds like Marc-Andre Fleury is going to be starting tonight for the Minnesota Wild, who has been very up and down this year. He's played well here as of late, but he's certainly not the Fleury we know of the past. He can certainly be vulnerable at times and give up quite a few goals. We got quite a bit of talent here on this first line as well, and for what it's worth, I think this game between the Wild and Jets is going to go a little under-owned compared to the other 2 games. And then a cheaper contrarian line stack that I like here tonight is that first line for the Chicago Blackhawks. And while I do think they'll probably carry a little more ownership than normal, being that it is just a 3-game slate, I think the Chicago team in general is probably going to get overlooked. We got Kurashev centering Reichel here and Athanasiou. So right now, Kurashev and Athanasiou are playing up on the number 1 power play. Reichel saw a little bit of time on the number 2 power play, but he has played well in the few games that he's been up in the NHL this year. Obviously, it's a very affordable line stack here. Guys that will play solid minutes together 5-on-5. Playing a Red Wings team here that has not been very good as of late. They're just 0-5-1 in their last 6 games, while allowing 4.5 goals per game. So I certainly don't mind Chicago here tonight, again, especially considering it's a 3-game slate. Now, folks, before we dive into some of my favorite individual plays here, if you could like this video and subscribe to the channel, I would greatly appreciate that. And don't forget, I am running that Discord channel too. We got a great group of people in there talking hockey and prize picks. If you want to join that, there's a link to do so in the description below. Alright, now diving into some of my favorite individual plays here, we're going to kick it off with the forwards, and I'm going to talk about some stacks that I like here tonight. Like I said, targeting some power play stacks or team stacks in general. One full power play stack I like here tonight is the Vancouver Canucks. You can do a little 3-man stack here with Elias Pettersson, Andrei Kuzmenko, and Quinn Hughes. You got Kuzmenko and Pettersson playing up on the first line together as well, so you get that correlation between those two. And this Anaheim Ducks team that they're playing tonight is definitely not afraid to take penalties, hence the reason I like the power play. They've taken the 2nd most minor penalties in the NHL this year. They got the 3rd worst penalty kill, hitting at just a 73.5% rate, and no other team has allowed more goals per game in the NHL than the Anaheim Ducks at 4.05 per game. And Pettersson and Kuzmenko have been solid together here as of late, having combined for 27 points in their last 10 games. And then another 3-man stack that I like here tonight is on the Minnesota Wild side of things. We got Eriksson Ek and Boldy stacked up with Klingberg, with all 3 of those guys playing up on the number 1 power play. Plus, you got Boldy and Eriksson Ek who play on that 2nd line together, so I like the correlation there. It's very affordable, and it's worth noting that this Winnipeg Jets team has not played very good defensively as of late. and their goaltenders have not been very good either. Over their last 5 games, they've allowed 4.60 goals per game, with a penalty kill that's hit at just a 74% rate. And the production has been there, especially for Eriksson Ek and Boldy on the power play this year. Pulling open their season stats right now, you can see Eriksson Ek has 49 points in 64 games, Boldy 42 in 64, but Eriksson Ek has 22 of his points coming on the power play, as well as Boldy too. And then I got David Perron there of the Detroit Red Wings, who's sitting at a nice price tag of $4,700. If you wanted to play him as an individual play, he's got multiple point upside and someone who can go for 25 plus DraftKings points. But again, being that it's just a 3-game slate and I'm primarily a tournament player, I'm probably stacking him up with that first line of Larkin and Raymond and or that number 1 power play. You could actually do a little mini stack with him and Lucas Raymond, who is $4,000. Very affordable to do that, strongly correlated in a good home matchup against Chicago. Now moving over here to the defensemen, and this 3-game slate here is not offering a lot at this position. I've gone through the defensemen very thoroughly here last night and this morning, and there are very few things that I like about it below $4,000. So I want to spend above $4K if at all possible tonight, stacking these guys up with forwards on the same power play. Josh Morrissey here, the Winnipeg Jets. You can stack him up with any one of those forwards that I highlighted earlier. Seth Jones, you can stack him up with Kurashev and Athanasiou, all playing up on that number 1 power play. You know, Quinn Hughes again, stacking him up with Pettersson and Kuzmenko. Klingberg with Boldy and Eriksson Ek. That's the primary plan of attack for me here tonight. I do have some honorable mentions there if you need to save money at the defenseman position, but like I said, there's just not a lot going on below $4,000 tonight. If I need to go there, I will, but I'm going to do everything I can to spend above $4K. And then my favorite goaltender play here tonight is Thatcher Demko of the Vancouver Canucks, but you guys know the deal here, being that it is just a 3-game slate, 6 goalies to choose from. I don't think we can really exclude any one of these goalies from being in our lineup tonight. It really comes down to what your lineup looks like. You just don't want to have negative correlation in there. If I'm going to be stacking up the Vancouver Canucks tonight, then no, I don't want to play the Anaheim Ducks goaltender. But Thatcher Demko is my favorite goalie play here at $7,500. He's played 3 games here since returning from IR, where he's 2-1-0. He allowed 4 goals in that first game, but just 2-1 in his last 2 games. And he's actually hit some really nice DraftKings points here in all 3, with 15.8, 16.8, and 30.7 DraftKings points in those 3 games. And as always, going to wrap up the spreadsheet here with 3 low-priced options or sub-4K forward plays. First guy I got there is Ryan Strome of the Anaheim Ducks. Plays up on that first line in number 1 power play for them. He's got 11 goals, 19 assists, 30 points in 64 games this year, so it's a solid opportunity play here considering the slate. Next is Robbie Fabry of the Detroit Red Wings, playing on that second line in number 1 power play. He's got 7 goals, 9 assists, 16 points in 27 games this year. Definitely someone that can go for 20 plus DraftKings points. And then Marcus Johansson of the Minnesota Wild, playing on that second line with Eriksson Ek and Boldy if you just wanted to roll out a full line stack. He does play down on the number 2 power play, but someone who has 13 goals, 16 assists, 29 points in 63 games this year. Just like Robbie Fabry, this is another guy who's got 15, 20 plus DraftKings point upside. And then to wrap up this video here, want to talk a little prize picks with you guys. Just a 3-game slate here tonight, so the picks will probably be pretty condensed. Gotta wait for those goalie props to come out before I do my final research. But once I do that, I'll let you guys know my final picks in a comment below on this video. I'll be sure to pin that comment as well. But don't forget, I am posting those picks in my Discord channel too. And if you want to join that, there's a link to do so in the description below. Now, for those of you who have not signed up for prize picks yet, but you want to get in on this action, I got a promo code that you should definitely take advantage of. When you're signing up, use my promo code GRIFF. GRIFF, and Prize Picks will give you all the way up to a $100 match deposit. Now, I know I've mentioned this all year long, but if you are new to Prize Picks, you do not have to put $100 in when you deposit. You can put in 50, they'll match that. You can put in 20, they'll match that too. They will match anything up to $100 as long as you use my promo code GRIFF, GRIFF, upon signing up. Alright everyone, that is going to wrap up this video here for today. As always, thank y'all for taking the time out of your day to watch the content here on this channel. If you could like this video and subscribe to the channel, I would greatly appreciate that. Let's have ourselves a great day here, folks. Let's win some money on this 3-game slate. In the meantime, I'm out of here.